It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was the right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
But Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Wanna be held tight? Well, now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office. And now, behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody clapping out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Free at last! Free at last!
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome to Alan Autry, No Retreat. I'm old Alan Autry, always humbled and honored to have you with us today live.
know why I'm excited about that? I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to say live at 70 years old. So it's when something goes live and I'm part of it, man, party time. But thanks for joining us, folks, whether you're on radio or you're streaming the show. Appreciate you so much. It is Big Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday, and we got Larry Powell. We didn't know we'd have Larry today, but he's multitasking. He slipped in here.
He's coming in hot.
Man, how fast did you have that Tesla going from Sanger over here?
12 minutes.
He's got a Tesla, man.
Now that's good news.
Yeah, that is good news. And Larry, let's start it off with a nice plug. You got them all backwards. Right, there you go. We're getting mic'd up here.
All right, we're good to go.
This is definitely live. Right? Okay. But welcome to Sorrento-Lot, Guillermo Moreno, his show at 4 o'clock every day. Don't miss it. Some good stuff.
Here.
Life-changing stuff. I think that doesn't just improve your life. It changes you. Transforms.
You might be transitioning when you're listening to my show.
You know, I've always wondered why didn't they call it Bruce Jenner transgender. I've always thought that would be,
that would work.
He's transgender. I think he'd find that very,
he would
acceptable.
Transgender, J-Lo, it all works.
Hunter High, J-Lo. Oh gosh, that's horrible. But anyway, thank you for joining us, folks. Appreciate you so much for being here. And Guillermo, I know you're starting to turn a profit. You know how I know that?
How? We got water?
No, but you got toilet paper that you can't see through. I was just in there. I know you actually, it's not top of the line Charmin, but it's in between that. I mean, I literally could put the Fresno Bee down newspaper, put a ply of that toilet paper that you had, and read the bee through that toilet paper. And the problems that can cause. We won't get into the nitty gritty here, but thank you.
Well, it's illegal toilet paper because we shouldn't be using more than.
It's out of compliance.
It's not in compliance. We should.
I'm going to call Dyer. You're going to have code enforcement here.
We're only authorized to use 0.5 ply. So.
What do you use? 0.3? Is that what the deal is? But anyway, it's fixed. I appreciate it. I got to pass that on to you because I criticized you publicly on radio for that. So I got to tip my hat to you publicly. Hey, we got to start off with when I think I'm right about something strongly.
Let me make a quick comment.
Yeah.
A lot of people make New Year's resolutions. We should call them New Year's perhapses, because not many people stick with them.
New Year's maybes.
Maybes.
New Year's possibly.
You got it.
Yeah. New Year's possibly, maybe in July. I'll think about doing what I promised to do on January 1st.
They don't even remember in July.
I think mid-January around right now is when people break what they just started.
If they last that long.
If they last that long, yeah.
Yeah, but you did. One of yours was to have actually real toilet paper.
That was not my New Year's resolution.
And you kept it. But, when I feel I'm right about something, I mean, tell you folks, I'm very careful about saying, hey, I believe this absolutely 100%, no room for any negotiations to be true. I've said that, but if you know life very well or lived a little bit of it, you better be careful and selective before you make that statement. You can say, I feel very strongly about this particular thing in this. I felt very strongly on the point of saying, this is absolutely the wrong thing to do when I made the statement about the 20 Republicans that held out. I still think Kevin McCarthy, you should have had that wrapped up earlier. I don't think the sausage being made gave the message to the American people that, hey, this is debate, ain't it cool? We're bringing back a basic tenet of American democracy. I understand psychologically how you understand, but I don't believe it was processed that way by the American people. They wanted you to get to work on the border, on the economy, on the war in Ukraine, on school reform, school choice, all of these things that you promised you were going to do. But I will give them this. They pushed it, and I believe almost to the point of disaster, but they didn't. They compromised. They got a deal done with the 20. And I got to sit here and tell you right now, I think it's a very good deal. I think they got some things in there. For example, the old Pelosi, you got to read the bill before you know what's in it. They give these bills at 10 o'clock at night, and they're going to vote on them at midnight that night. Now you have to have 72 hours to look at that bill. Now, again, a 4,000-page bill, but, that's going to be challenging, but it gives you a chance. 87,000 IRS agents released only to go after the very wealthy. Right. Exactly. Yeah. They were coming after you, me, and everybody else. They put the kibosh on that for now. They got the power of the person, and they went to work. So, Guillermo, you said it was you were supporting that. As it turned out, I have to say, I was wrong and you were right.
Well, what was that?
I said I was wrong and you were right.
Well, yeah. I've been right.
Guillermo.
I've been right quite a bit now.
Now, Larry's probably going to have a more nuanced thing here because Larry was with me and he went off on him as bad as I did. Larry, let me throw it to you. Was there not some good that came out of it? But was the process, I still think they played with fire, much too dangerous fire. They could have had this done. First of all, let's start.
Yeah.
Don't you think McCarthy should have had this done before you even get out there? He thought he had only 5 to convince.
Having been,
he had over 20.
Having been in government positions where you have to do your work in public and things, I understand a bit of that, but there's a lot of behind the scenes with a party that they can get it taken care of earlier. I would have preferred the exact same outcome in terms of what they got, but done it on the private instead of out in the open. But because it is the making sausage, and nobody wants to eat sausage after you've seen it being made.
Okay, let's go.
But Guillermo, kudos to you. You hung in there. You only got to 15. I was looking at the 100. I didn't think they'd make it to 100 votes.
But remember, I said by Friday.
Yes, you did.
So I was right on the
All right,
date.
gloat on.
You were there.
We're going to give you. You deserve it. Gloat on. What's your comments on this? Go ahead, because
that's good stuff.
Well, I'm normally always right, except that one time where I turned out to be wrong, but we found out later I was right anyways. But I just want to say this, besides being humble, I firmly believe that this was the best case scenario because it gave the American people a look into how Congress works. And I think you on the educational side, and I'm not going to veer off, but I think this is important for our younger generation to know this. I mean, how much focus is on the speaker? People actually know what the speaker does, not only intellects or radio hosts. So I like the fact that it happened. I think for Kevin McCarthy, I think it was a humongous win. It was a win for everybody, but for Kevin McCarthy, it was a big win because he put a stake in the ground, and he not only told the Democrats that he's going to be speaker. He told his own party that said, basically, look, no, I'll take this thing to however long it takes.
Yeah.
I'm going to get when I plan on doing something, I'm going to get it done. And my own party is my first example. So I think that's so important for him. And the Freedom Caucus members also deserve probably more kudos than Kevin. I don't know what it's like to be a congressman. I don't know what it's like to be an elected official. But to have that amount of gumption and guts, I mean, you're not only going against Kevin McCarthy, you're going against 200 other people. I mean, Could you imagine? The fact that they didn't flinch was great. I think it sends a great message to the left, to the president, that, look, we might be a band of misfits, but you know what? At the end of the day, if they're united against a goal, they're not going to stop. So I love everything about it. I love C-SPAN having coverage. I loved it all.
Yeah, I didn't know that. My concern was they wouldn't know when they had played the hand enough that it was time to fold. I'm reminded, Carol O'Connor told me this story about Larry Hagman. You all remember the show Dallas. And Larry was holding out. Third year in Dallas, he emerged as the most popular character, J.R. Ewing. And so he was renegotiating. And he called Carol, said they're best friends. And Carol had held out on All in the Family. And he tells the story that Larry asked him, well, what should I hold out for? How do I do this? He says, well, hold out till the last offer they give you, and then fold. Now, that sounds good. You got to determine when
is that happening?
When is that last offer? And he says you have to be on top of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they did, the 20 did. They held out. They got some stuff, and I give them credit. They had more of a feel for going too long on this. Getting the things. I was surprised again, I don't know if it's going to be good or not. I don't know. But I did not think that McCarthy and the other 200 would accept that one vote to vacate. That you just need one congressman
to vote again
to say, I don't like what McCarthy's doing. Let's vote on the speaker again.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
What's that?
That's going to happen. So procedurally, someone has to bring the motion. I originally thought it was only the Republicans vote, but it's the whole House.
Did it surprise you that he folded on that one?
No,
Really?
No, because I think Kevin is. I don't know the guy. I've never met him, but something would tell me that he's the type of guy that would say, "Yeah, good luck, good luck trying, buddy." I think he's very confident in himself. I think he knows that they're going to question his leadership, but I think he understands that he's probably going to win every single time.
Yeah, he wouldn't say it. I know Kevin. Not really well, but well enough to know how he operates. Because we both serve at the same time. He would never say it like that. Hey, tough luck. I got the votes. Go ahead and try. Never go ahead and make my day. Eastwood moment. He's a schmoozer. He's too much of a schmoozer, and that's why a lot of people like him, because in large, people like to be schmoozed. There's some people that we've known in life going, hey, I know you're kissing my rear and I don't like it. Don't try it again. They want to be schmoozed. They want to be told good things and nice things and pleasant things and that they're part of the process, even though they know they're not. You got a guy in there. Well, but that's also why a few did not like him at all, because, especially down in the South, because one thing they don't like down there is a dang ass kisser. Otherwise known as smoozer out there in California, we all come from. We call them butt kissers. Ain't nobody putting a hickey on my butt and getting anything out of me. I mean, that's basically the attitude there.
Yeah.
Where these folks are from. So I'm just thankful. I tip my hat. Like I said, hopefully I'm never too, wrapped up in my own ego that I can't say that I was wrong when I was wrong. Because that bothers me more, going around going, you were wrong on this, buddy. You need to own up. They did it. They did it. They pushed it. They got some good stuff. You didn't think they can do it. They did. Swallow it. Be thankful for it. And go on to the next subject, which we are right now.
Because it was only 15 votes, I feel like I ate chicken, not crow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But let me tell you what I like about McCarthy. He immediately has come out with moving 3 people off of key committees.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to move, Schiff, Swalwell, and Omar off of 2 really important committees. That's an amazing move.
I don't say this very often. You know me, Larry.
Yeah.
You know me publicly, privately, and we don't personalize even when we're talking about people that we don't like, particularly care for.
Yeah.
We're careful not to. Now we're open about it. We're strong about it. They can tell how we feel about a certain situation, but we're very mindful of not. You, on the other hand, Guillermo, you make a living out of it. Tell them that like it is. This guy's a dirtbag. This guy's an idiot.
Not in 2023. I'm changing my ways.
But this guy, Swalwell, bless his heart, I just don't think he belongs on any committee doing anything. He is drenched with partisanship. He just showers with partisanship. He just literally, it's obvious, detests, hates, abhors Republicans. The thought of sitting down and for a dinner with a Republican repulses him. You can tell in how he talks about. How do you put him on a committee when you know, based on his actions and words for a long period of time, that he has zero desire, regardless of what is at stake, to work with a Republican?
Well, he's in there.
He'd rather be on the front lines at Ukraine.
He's in there for personal
gain. Those Ukrainian
gain.
Women out there.
Yeah, he's in there for personal gain. And
I hate to say that about somebody.
Yeah.
So, but I want to be wrong on that. I'd like to come on here one day, have him do something, and go, this, and this I disagree with, but Swalwell, good job, and I don't see that happen.
Well, he was kicked off of what committee? Was it the Foreign Affairs Committee?
Foreign Affairs and Intelligence.
By his own party, correct?
Yes. That's a very good point
because of China.
Well, the fact that he was sleeping with the Chinese spy, I think, disqualifies you from sitting on the. But you know what? One committee I would want to see him on? The Chinese committee investigating China, because who else has been that close in the United States Congress to China? I would want him on that committee because everything the man says would be representative of the Chinese viewpoint.
And he said he didn't know that Fang. I mean, when she said could you get me some nuclear secrets? And he thought she said, can you get me some Victoria secrets? you got to think that the guy's not processing things properly, right?
Yeah.
And you have it on tape. You know, yeah, we have it. Scoop Johnson's got it. We'll play it one day. All right, let's go on to this today. This is the one. Oh my gosh, the hypocrisy is so thick. I gotta pull it away to get to this next story. Let's start off with the clip, Jeremy. We have of Joe Biden explaining on a sit-down with CBS, I believe, or 60 Minutes, explaining the dire consequences of these top-secret documents being found at Mar-a-Lago. Let's play Joe's words.
Laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago. What did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
How that could possibly happen. How anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
Totally irresponsible.
Okay. You know, if it wasn't so sad, it'd be funny. But I found one thing that Joe Biden does better than screw up the world, and that is form a knit nooses for his own neck. Did you just hear that, folks?
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't watched the news lately, they found some top secret documents. And it wasn't just at Mar-a-Lago. It was at the Biden Institute or whatever. It's Joe Biden's office, his personal office. Top secret documents that he took in 2008 and have been sitting unprotected at this think tank in Washington with his name on it in his office for how many years? Do some math. 2024 since 2008. That's been laying around, and he's criticizing. Where did they find the top secret documents at Trump's? Behind lock and key in a compound guarded by private security and federal security.
Yeah.
So who put the country more at risk with top secret documents being lifted from the White House, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? And let me tell you, don't you dare go there, my liberal listeners. I love you. You tune in because you yell at the radio or yell at the screen. That's okay. With me. That is a fair question to ask, and one you should be asking as well. This is your guy, and if you sincerely feel Donald Trump put the entire country and the world at risk with these top secret documents, which could contain nuclear secrets, not Victoria secrets, nuclear secrets, and you went to the wall-to-wall coverage, CNN, MSNBC, all of this about the dangers, the horror of these documents being taken by Trump, and you find these there, don't you dare say that that's an unfair question. So, Sarantalot, your take on this and what should happen now with this committee. Should it not be a Jim Jordan, okay, we're going here, we can keep going here, but this is new stuff and big stuff. We need to investigate.
Let me start off with maybe going into scripture, and I don't know the exact scripture verse, so maybe Larry can help me out with this. But
thou shalt not lie. What comes to me first.
Matthew 7:3.
Is that the plank?
Yes.
How did we didn't even see when I go around in life, I try not to point out the speck in other people's eye because I got tons of planks.
The plank in our own eye.
So when I saw this, besides saying, "Isn't it ironic that this is happening?" I mean, you got to be a special type of person to call people out on something that you know deep inside you may be far worse than.
He has no sense of that.
He has no sense of that. But, and I don't want to be mean to the guy because it's 2023. I have a New Year's resolution where I'm not going to attack anybody on their character or their mental state or anything. But but maybe Joe Biden, honestly,
that's a perhaps.
You got Jeremy shaking his head.
Maybe Joe Biden didn't realize he had these things. Okay, so that's number one. And
that was Trump's position as well. That didn't fly.
So here's the thing that's really odd with this is the response by the legacy media, because the ones that really went all in was CNN, MSNBC. The media went all in on how bad this is.
Yeah,
it's awfully rich listening to the pundits now say that this is completely different.
Oh yeah, it's not important, but it's so important to Trump that you invade his home.
Yeah.
You invade his home with the full force of the federal government, CIA, FBI, ATF, with drawn guns, to get those top secret documents.
But Merrick Garland.
But you know who went in to get them when they found out where they were at Biden's? The Historical Society. Guy's named Fred Jones.
Is that his name?
It was the National Archives.
National
folks.
Archives.
Yeah.
People that were torn between being an accountant and
a librarian.
And librarians going in and asking, we see that we heard there's some documents.
I got to read that
may
verse, though, because the verse really amplifies out of the Bible. So Matthew 7:3 says, how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in my own?
You know, that's kind of strange. That's the same thing Biden said to Corn Pop. And that's amazing. He is a man of God. He's going around quoting scripture.
Well, see, scripture's only good when it amplifies your position. That's
But you know, we get here, we laugh about it. But is this not big? And I'm gonna go someplace, and you're not gonna agree with it. But I feel this is not trying to be Karnak the Magnificent. You don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I don't.
It's Johnny Carson.
Johnny
Larry
Carson
knows who that is. That played this guy, fortune teller with Ed McMahon. You don't know who Ed McMahon is.
Johnny
I
Carson
understand.
Johnny
There's
Carson
some folks
was
out there. Yeah,
the late night, right? Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And Ed McMahon is the
guy who's sidekick. Laughed at everything he said.
Never mind. I'm thinking another McMahon.
Laughed at everything he said. Like what you don't do. You would not be a good Egg McMahon with me. Egg McMahon is what you said, not Ed. But if you notice, as we laugh about this, because it is very serious, because you had a whole hierarchy of justice for certain people. For Republicans in office, you had a whole different set of rules. You can do just about anything. You know, they made the famous statement that Trump supporters, if he shot somebody, they would still support him. Well, you don't think that can go for Democrats as well? You know what? They'd just be more clever.
Yeah.
The guys, Trump supporters, just shoot you in the face. The other guys, sneak in your bedroom and strangle you, I think it's very clear now that the cabal, the media, the Democratic National Committee, the machine, certainly Nancy Pelosi and all the weight she brings, Silicon Valley, certain foreign countries have said, we cannot accept any more Joe Biden. Gavin Newsom is our man. Now, how do we make it look like it's not us getting rid of him?
No.
You know, they're going to get a twofer. They're going to say, look, see, they're doing it right now on CNN. Last night on CNN, they had Jake Tapper and some others saying, these documents, why did he take them? He didn't know them. This is just like Trump. Where is the federal government calling out the agencies to go after Biden? Folks, this was CNN.
Yeah.
Not just on one show, a one and done.
Yeah.
You're seeing this call to make this a big, big deal. And I predicted that. They've got the infrastructure bill passed. They've got spending where even the most liberal Democrat knows, hey, our money's worthless now. We can't get any more spending bills. That's really all Joe knows how to do is start wars and spend a lot of phony money.
Yeah.
He can't. They know that. So now we got to get, hi, Gavin Newsom, table for two.
At the French restaurant.
At the French Laundry. He's the guy.
Yeah.
So I think this is the beginning of the end for Joe Biden, where he will have to step down because you think about it. Who's going to stand up on the Democratic side and defend him when Jim Jordan and that committee gets full bore towards Hunter Biden? They start connecting dots to Jim Biden and Joe Biden sharing in the profits of his son. That's where this ends up.
Niet. That's
right,
no
go.
in Russian. Not, and
so
I'm
you think
not,
they're going to stand by?
I'm not compromised. So we saw this in the last presidential election. The Democrat Party, when they're all for someone, they're all going to be in together. There's not going to be a fracture. There's not going to be a fission at all. Unlike the
Do you agree they control the media?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, the media is going after Biden.
Yeah, but the media is not going to go after Biden.
Doesn't that say, hey?
I think these documents are the best thing to happen to the Biden administration because now the Republicans, we were all about Hunter Biden. Now it's like, wait a minute, these documents that are 20 years old that probably say nothing, let's go after that. The Democrats are all in for Biden in 2024. Everyone's going to fall in line, just like the Democrats always fall in line. That man is going to be your candidate.
To quote scripture, since we're quoting scripture today, Lord, you give them eyes, but they do not see. You give them ears, but they do not hear. You really believe that?
Yes, they're going.
There's a diehard Biden's our man. Nobody, if he can't do it, nobody can. Biden. You think they're going to go?
Absolutely, without
Larry,
a shadow of a doubt.
Larry, your input on this?
Strawberry shortcake, huckleberry pie, VICTORY. Are we yet? Well, I guess Biden. Yes.
Yeah, look at that. He's even got the chant down.
Okay, I know you're not a betting man. Okay, give me one night at your place in Shaver. I'll bet you one night, and then I'll give you my deal I get at the Piccadilly Inn.
Okay.
They give me a great deal there.
That's right.
So you and Doc, can go there, stay for 3 days.
I think it's so hard to dismiss an incumbent because of how hard it is to get them out. Look what Trump had to do to get out of the presidency.
Let me ask you guys
so
this.
Biden hasn't done that, but I want to give one other quick thing.
Go ahead.
Okay, and it's from the verse because this is a commentary on that verse and what it means, and it'll clarify a little bit of what Biden is seeing.
You're talking about the log in the eye thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is out of Matthew. It's talking about attacking the hypocrisy of those who criticize others while ignoring their own much larger flaws. But the second part of that is this: since the flaw is in the eye, it is a metaphor for how such flaws can blind you. Okay? So when we look at what Biden said in that clip that you just played, he is blinded at even seeing how it's wrong. Because that's what that metaphor is about. So
you're saying I'm just
the plank in his eye has blinded him to see the hypocrisy of it.
Do you think that his followers feel the same way?
Yes. Yeah. Let me tell you why he's going to be the presidential candidate. Because maybe not because of him, but the same circumstances where there's nobody else. So let's be real about this. Gavin Newsom cannot win nationally, and they're not ready for Gavin Newsom. Pete Buttigieg can't get planes in the air. Kamala Harris can't find the roots of anything. So when you look at the bench, if they had another Barack Obama, oh, trust me, he'd be on his way out. But let me be clear. Don't underestimate Joe Biden's ability to squeak in. So the Democrats have nobody, and none of them have a backbone to challenge him. So nothing's changing.
But Larry, but Guillermo, on the same hand, never underestimate the absolute enormous power of free stuff and entitlement. This Democratic Party has been able to go out and ballot harvest millions of voters who, under their own volition and motivation, would never go to the polls. That's why these these election reforms are so important, folks. They've been able to go out. They've been able to go out, hit the streets. People that are on drugs, people that are that would never show up on election day.
Yeah.
Take a ballot to them, have them sign the ballot, throw them a few bucks or whatever, and they have found an enormous voting base with that. Then you have another enormous voting base that have been institutionalized into the welfare mentality that they're afraid to live the American dream, which means go out and compete. We're going to allow you to have a pathway to not only work for the man, but be the man. And then, by the way, if you don't want to work for the man, you don't really have to work. We're going to give you a check. That we're losing our collective spine and elective will to earn money. And you get enough, that is very, very powerful. So whomever may be running in that party that is for free stuff and money without work and all of these enablements, they could care less whether they're an 80-year-old man who falls off a bicycle, who starts a war in Ukraine that could kill your children and grandchildren and for what, or somebody who has an outside ego that says that you can't hang out with your family while he's at a restaurant hanging out with his. They don't care about those things. It's whoever's occupying that office that's going to be administering that free stuff policy, they're going to vote for.
Did you ever take cookies out of the oven before they were done?
Yes.
How'd they taste?
Pretty darn good.
You know, did you ever take cookies out of the oven before they were done?
I like soft, gooey cookies.
All right. Well, so basically, the Gavin Newsom and
I know where you're going. Okay,
they're
I
just
haven't.
not ready.
Go ahead.
They're just not ready.
by not ready for an informed voter who cares about the country, who believes that it's better to earn your money rather than being given it. A person who believes you should have secure borders, or you don't have a society that can be functionable, who believes that you don't start wars that you don't know how to end.
It's not that bad yet.
What?
Just not to these
this
voters.
This country elected Joe Biden. How much worse do you want it to get?
To these voters,
they bail Alec Baldwin out of jail and have him run and get elected. You can go, okay, it's that bad now. Who do they have to elect to prove to you it's that bad?
It's not going to happen. He's going to be your candidate. I've been saying that since day one.
The guy's still trying to figure out what his pronoun is. He's giving all in. Just tell me my pronoun and I'll go by it. He doesn't believe in a choice for students. He doesn't care about the inner city youth, or he'd be doing something in Chicago, yet they vote for him en masse. Although he never goes to mass, he says. Yeah. I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to question a guy's religion. He does go to mass. But, I mean, no. How bad does it have to get before you say, something's up? What I say, you can curse the darkness or turn on the light. Republicans, you better go find that constituency that's staying home. And I'd say go head to head. Go on their turf. Go and open up an office right in the heart of Detroit, Atlanta, New York, L.A., and you start taking the conservative message of you have dreams. Bring back the lessons of Martin Luther King, of a colorblind society, all of us working together. And we're going to have a school system where your kids can go to school and not have to work for minimum wage their whole life, but actually own that business. We're going to support policies that gives your kids that chance for that. And by the way, instead of getting that check in the mail, we're going to have a jobs program, a real jobs program. Remember back when Newt Gingrich did a compromise with Bill Clinton, and you had the welfare to work program that got more people off of welfare and into jobs at any time in history? We can do that again. Remember those days? We can do it. But you got to take that message in. And Republicans have been cowardly. Well, they go, well, who's the first 10 that's going to go open up an office in, downtown Atlanta or whatever, In Atlanta, I use that because they're in a whole scheme of things. They're a very common sense politically. I know they lean left, but it's some good people. You can get something done in Atlanta. New York City, San Francisco.
2-1 party.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
But you got to go in there and take the message because they're not going to. And I know what Guillermo's saying. You make all the sense in the world. But what we have to see is what's happened is, can common sense have the same effect as the free stuff? Just say you're injecting it into society. You injected a little bit of free stuff way back when. Hey, you don't have to work and we're going to give you money. That started to grow throughout the body. It's like the Bible. A little bit of yeast goes through the whole loaf.
Leavens it.
Okay? And it was never intended, I don't think, to have people depend on it. It was meant to help people through difficult times till they could get a job. But it grew and grew throughout society. It spread. It infected. Socialism infected the whole body social here in America. Will common sense do the same thing when it's injected? Because you're talking about an injection of common sense. All those things you said, if we bring those back into society and inject it into the system, will it spread like the socialist free stuff movement?
I think common sense is done. I think people want common thought these days. That's all they want. They all want to be agreeing to say.
That's where I want to share what Alexis de Tocqueville said. He had a number of sayings that were really prescient and forecast what was going to happen in America. One of them is, I know of no country in which there is so little independence of mind and real freedom of discussion as America. So it's so interesting. We are forced to believe what a party says. Okay? We're not independent in our own thinking anymore. And we look at a lot of folks, Democrats fall in line so fast.
Here's why I asked this question. And I hold out hope that common sense could spread, that it could, throughout society, get some traction. Because we saw it happen, that we saw it happen in Poland when Lech Walesa stood up and said workers should have rights. They should not be forced to do this for slave wages.
Yeah.
We saw it with Boris Yeltsin. We saw it completely turn the Soviet Union upside down with common sense freedom going, I want to be able to do what I want to do in this country. I don't want to be the best heavyweight champion in the world, and I can't fight anyplace else except Russia. Cuba had one of the greatest boxers of all time, and you remember this name, Larry, Teofilo Stevenson.
Oh, yeah.
At the time, people thought could have been Muhammad Ali.
Beat anybody.
Castro did not allow Teofilo Stevenson to pursue the championship of the world.
Yeah.
Restricted.
And yet it would have benefited Cuba.
Right. But then now you've had some of these Cuban athletes come over. You inject a little bit of that, but you have to inject it. You have to go there. You have to have people stand up and defy the system and show them what it is they're missing out on. That's what I'm saying. Republican Party, conservative, go into the poor communities. Go into these with your message of school choice. Go in and tell these parents, this school is failing you. God bless them. We love teachers. But if you look at the roster of these teachers, you have 20 out of the 25 staff who failed every place else, but they put them here, and they're going to stay here where it's needed the most. The good teachers needed the most. But instead of fire them, they're going to put them teaching your kids, and they've proven they don't teach well. And a lot of parents would go, "What? I didn't know that." And what we want to do is, if that happens at your school, you have a right to take your child, which may be the only hope of a future, not only for your child,
family,
but for you when you get old,
to
have your kid go out and make something of themselves and take care of you in your old age. It might be the only path you have, and that's being blocked to you by the system. They're telling you, here's your welfare check, shut up, go away, and don't only show up on election day, or we'll take the check from you.
Even as a public school educator, I've always believed the money should follow the kids where the parents want them to be.
That's the message Guillermo's talking about. How do you inject that? You're going to have to take that message. Why? You have the teaching the union establishment. I'm not anti-union. I remember 3 unions tried to attack my union and put out business. I'll fight you on it. But it's clear the teachers' unions in this country have lost control. It's all about benefits for the teachers. You had the head of the CTA, and you remember when he said this, Larry. He says, well, when kids start paying union dues, then I'll worry about them.
Yeah.
Remember when that statement?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? He got away with it. There was no call for him to resign in California.
Wow.
He said that, Guillermo. It's on record.
Yeah, it is. At a Fresno Unified Board meeting.
Wow.
I heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's astonishing. So what did we do? We did nothing. We didn't say we have to counter this. Let's go into the struggling schools like Lowell, like Jefferson. Let's go in there with the conservative message that you just articulated. And unless they do that, that is not going to spread. The common sense, the true American values, individual liberties is not, and the beauty of that. It was me, again, I'll shut up and listen to you guys' feedback on it, but when you've lived it and you've seen the visage of yourself dying on a tractor, working in the fields, and percentage-wise, that's about a 90% chance, if not 95%, that is going to be your future. Because that's what your grandfather did, your great-grandfather did, what your dad did, and that's what you're going to do. Because guess what? Your daddy's not a millionaire. You barely have money to pay rent.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to do. You have that visage, and this great country gives you a chance at a quality education with people that influence you and give you a chance to get out of that field. Honorable work. Field work is honorable work. I love people working. But I wanted more. I wanted to have a chance to have a front yard and a backyard of my own, not to rent. I wanted to be able to have a chance to do other things. I wanted options. And I was able to do that because of the American dream was still alive. I didn't have people telling me this is as good as it's going to get. You work hard. You play by the rules. You keep playing, swinging away. You can reach your dream. People, that 88 million that voted for Biden, if you ask them how important that message is, I'm not demonizing them, I would put it way down the list. I would put it, they have it below everyone learning the pronoun towards, opposed to is teaching kids that they can achieve the American dream. Even to say American. They don't even want you to say American anymore.
Yeah.
Did you see that? So we have to get in. Okay, I said I was going to say.
Let me give you a
go
couple
you
of
want to.
insights that I think will be helpful. I always separate the teacher from the union because the union has a message that they're, quote unquote, feel obligated to deliver. Teachers, I would bet 95% of the teachers that I've worked with are good at their job.
I agree. And you would know better than me.
Yeah,
I agree.
5% are terrible and should be out of the profession, but 95% are there. But what happens in the union when they're doing their voting to see what the teachers believe, here's how it works. You go to a meeting, they have you stand up when you want to support something and then stand up if you oppose. I saw this happen in a meeting where I would say there were maybe 600 teachers there. All but 4 stood up in favor of something, and they made the other 4 stand up opposed to it, and everybody gets to see who it is. There's no private ballot. See, that's the thing that
the pressure. So to stand up for that, you're going to pay a price.
And that's of those who went to the meeting. That out of 600, 4 stood up. That's pretty strong on those 4. But there are thousands and thousands of teachers, and they didn't even go. So that's something to be aware of. Another thing about parents. Parents tend to support the Democratic point of view on schools about no choice until it's their child. When it's their child, then they're in favor of choice. But they want to support the idea of democratic schools. Let's keep the money coming to all of our schools instead of being allowed to go to a private school or some other choice until it's their kid. And when it comes, if I say to a parent, okay, Mrs. Jones, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $16,000 a year to put your kid in the best school. Would you take it? They would take it in a flash. And they'd go to a private school and their kid would succeed.
An illustration of how opposed the left is to that line of thinking, which is common sense and just basically love and treating everybody equal. One of the best performing schools, and you know which one it was, I don't remember the name, it was in Washington, D.C. It was a charter school. They had a lottery. So many parents wanted their kids in there. They had a lottery.
Couldn't get them all in.
Couldn't get them all in. You know one of the first acts Barack Obama did when he became president, Larry?
Yeah, eliminate the school.
He shut the school down.
Yeah.
Not because it was succeeding, because it was making the other schools look bad.
Mm.
That was the first step of equity.
Yeah.
That's what we need to have a whole show.
Equity and equality are two things we need.
His deal was because others can't succeed like this, we have to get rid of the successful.
Eliminate all success.
Lower the bar down so the kid that's chronically truant doesn't feel inferior to the successful student.
Yeah.
He shut it down. And what happened? The sheep said, okay. Why? Because he was historical. He was the first black president.
Yeah.
That's why Martin Luther King did not look at color. You think that a particular color is incapable of doing sinful, horrible, bad things? Just because you're white, you're going to do all sinful things? No, you're going to do both. You're black, you're brown. Your color of your skin has nothing to do with the acts of your heart and your priorities and principles. And Barack Obama showed right off the bat. Let me ask this. We've got a few minutes left. I want your analysis. We've seen McCarthy. Let's go back to it because I think they can make some tremendous progress towards the things we're talking about here if they have the guts to stick with it. You got the 87,000 IRS agents. Looks like that's not going to happen right away. You've got 72 hours to look at the bill. 2 really good things. You happen to think to have the one representative be able to call a good thing may be. Where in Guillermo Moreno's mind, as an American citizen and patriot, where should their focus be now? Give me a couple of other areas that they should be going pronto.
They got to focus on domestic policy. They really do. Don't get too hung up in the investigations. Do them, but don't let that take away from the work that has to be done. The American people are struggling. I think we're heading into a recession. It's the economy, stupid. Stay on task. Don't let anything take you off that task, and focus on delivering for the American people. Don't go off on these tangents. And I think if Kevin McCarthy does that and he's able to do it successfully, then I think there'll be.
Well, give me a couple of specifics. Inflation, the border, but where do you? Yeah.
I say inflation. Inflation first. I wouldn't handle the border right away. They got to figure out inflation. They got to figure out what the heck is going on with transportation, our infrastructure. I mean, today we had a big problem. Got to go back to the basics. The Biden and Harris administration spent a bunch of money on infrastructure. We're struggling. I mean, we're having flooding. We're mudslide. You got to get back to just
airline schedules have blown up.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Guillermo. You bring a good point, and let me tell you, I'm not saying experience is everything. You know, people had, hey, here's an actor wants to be mayor of the city of Fresno. What's his experience level? It's a legitimate question. I felt very confident I'd come through with an agenda and marshal support for that agenda.
You had law enforcement experience.
And my law enforcement experience. But you look at Buttigieg, take the personality out of it. What a part of being a small town mayor in Indiana prepared him to be the head of transportation.
Not only that, but do you know how small South Bend, Indiana is?
Yes.
It is the size of Clovis.
It's almost the size of Riverdale.
It is the size of. Have you been to now? Let's just talk about that.
They've been a source of much angst for you and your Michigan State Spartans. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And my Michigan family lives 20 minutes from the border, so we fly into South Bend all the time. South Bend is, if you look at their airport, is about 1/4 the size of Fresno. They have flights that only go out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This man was able to become the transportation secretary when the airport is shut down half the day. Here's why he wanted to be transportation secretary, because he didn't want any of the other secretaryships. He didn't want education because we were just going and coming in out of COVID.
You're never going to get in.
He wanted the one that was the easiest, so he could have a future and just cruise on in. Little did he know that Joe Biden and transportation was just a pitfall. He didn't want the border. He didn't want to be Secretary of Defense.
The naivete to think he could hide that important office. Yeah, I mean, you have planes that don't fly on time. Hey, who's in charge of this? Buttigieg.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the naivete, but you're missing the point, Guillermo. You're just totally missing the importance of this. And I really, I hate to break this to you because you're obviously not enlightened enough to know. all of that is shouldn't even be considered, because he was the first gay man to head up the transportation department. Don't you get it?
I totally forgot about that.
Yes.
Totally forgot.
On. You have to wait 3 days at the airport because the airlines are in disarray, or the weather has blown away all the infrastructure on the roads and stuff, and you're expecting Pete Buttigieg to come in and address that. Come on.
Yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, if I could only, next time I go to South Bend, I'm going to go to the exact same spot at the airport where he said that. That was one of the things.
Isn't there dangers to that? Let me tell you, I'll flat out say this. I ran because of a calling for mayor. And by all measures, we did good because we had a good team. We didn't do anything alone, okay? And we left the city, I feel, better than we found it. That's what you should try to do as a mayor. Don't try this transformational. Leave it better than you found it. But the people of Fresno took a big leap to have an unemployed actor running your city. I don't know if I would have voted for me. If it was two of me out, Citizen Alan Autry and candidate Autry, the Citizen Autry would be going, first of all, we're pretty close. We're the same. What in the hell are you doing running for mayor? And Citizen Autry better get a good answer. And I thought I did. But you take Buttigieg. My point is I was the first actor to run for president. So the whole acting community is saying, oh, we got an actor. This man Ronald Reagan did it and became the first actor to head California, actually the first actor. But can't the first of something be very dangerous if you don't get the right first of something? It should not be your first priority of voting for somebody. That's why I insisted on having as many town hall debates and meetings as I could with Dan Whitehurst. I wanted people to open me up and see that, hey, I know what I'm talking about. They didn't do that with people. They didn't open him up and examine him about what he knows about, because saying, hey, just like you said, hey, you're in South Bend, a little town. What do you know about the national transportation system? Never ask anything, because he was the first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
He's the first.
but you said something when you were mayor, or
I don't know.
when you were running, you had passion, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to, and that's why you succeeded. Someone like Pete Buttigieg, I doubt he had passion for transportation.
I find that hard to buy too. The man wanted to be president.
Exactly. So, and I think you see this problem. I doubt Kamala Harris wanted to be second in command. She didn't have the passion to be the vice president of the United States. I think a lot of these people that you look at, they fell into the job.
That's correct.
Right?
You think Buttigieg is going to run?
Oh, without a doubt.
Even if Biden runs.
No. After Biden. They're all lining
up. If Biden doesn't run, you think Buttigieg?
Absolutely. He's that way off base to where he can't look at the horrible tenureship, because he's going to be saying, "Well,
what record can he run on?
What record is anyone else going to run on?"
Well, no, but he has the record there. I mean, anything you look at, nobody's ever happy with transportation.
He's going to be the
I
first.
don't care how good it is. There's always a pothole somewhere
you're
going to find.
Yeah.
I want to call Mayor Dyer about this pothole.
He's going to run on being the first gay president. That's what he's going to run on, and
it won't get him there.
I agree.
We have too many other problems, and things, so it just won't happen.
But I think you're right in your analysis. I think he will. For those reasons, just to increase his name rec. I mean, he's got nothing to lose other than defending a really bad record. I mean, he'll be smooth on how to do that. But it'll just elevate his stature.
His
and
smoothness.
And maybe the next president will make him Secretary of State. He'd take that.
Oh, in a flash.
Oh, wouldn't he? Oh, yeah. That's got enough panache for him,
He just has to show up. Is he back from paternity leave? Is it maternity or paternity?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Send me over to the Ukraine. I can get the Russians in the Ukraine. I'll get them together.
Send Hunter. I've been telling this to everybody.
Pronounity.
No, I'd send Dr. Phil. Now, Vladimir, Mr. Zelensky's got a problem with you. He invaded his country. Now, what do you say to Mr. Zelensky after you drop those bombs on Kiev? We'll be right back on the next show to get Mr. Zelensky's response. Boy, it's not free-for-all Friday. Sir Landon, Guillermo, you going to be on at 4 o'clock today?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Don't miss Guillermo. Larry, when's your show again?
It's on 6 o'clock on Saturday, 4 o'clock on Sunday, and it's definitely something you want to see.
Don't miss it. God bless. Love you. Do your best. Let God do the rest. And good Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.